Hello there, and welcome back to more Final Fantasy VI. Last time, we went around a few sections of the world to gather some lore spells for Strago, and we also went back to the Dragon's Neck Coliseum, got some items there, and finally resolved a plot point that had been kind of working in the background for the entirety of the World of Ruin, where we got to see Shadow's background and connect the dots between him and his long-lost family. Today, we only have one main objective, and that is to build our entire team to be as strong as, well, as reasonably strong as possible before we go and take on Kefka. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to be leveling up all of our characters and getting them some decent Esper bonuses and magic for the trials ahead. Now, I do have a set rule for this, and you can, if you're playing along, you can go above this, or you can restrict yourself even further. Honestly speaking, the level range that I'm at right now, and the skill range, for the most part, can carry me for the rest of the game. I am completely capable of actually beating the game in this current state right now. It would take a little bit of smart gambits and plays, but it absolutely can be done. So, if you've been playing along and you've had relatively the same amount of luck that I've had, then I would say go for it. If you don't feel like level grinding or magic grinding any further and you want to complete the game, this is a great time to do it. However, because I want to try and give these characters a little bit more potential as we head into the final dungeon and showdown against Kefka, I think it would be best if we go ahead and level them up just a little bit. My aim in terms of character levels is level 38 to 40, which is a pretty significant stat boost compared to what we've got right now. As the 30 range, our stats begin to skyrocket significantly in terms of HP and MP, so we'll see a pretty big difference between like Terra's level 32 and what she'll be at level 38 to 40-ish. And in terms of abilities and magic, honestly, I don't really have a set, like, mission for each character. I have a few set spells that I want each character to learn, but overall, I'm not going to be trying to, like, teach Shadow every single Esper that we've got right now, or anything like that. Now, where exactly do you begin this grind session? Now, I'm going to be taking care of character levels first and foremost. And honestly, there are two main areas I would suggest to begin this grind, and thankfully, they're actually right next to each other. And this would be this little northeastern continent, my bad, right here, near where Gao's father resides. This little plains area right here, and this forest, better known as Dinosaur Forest. Now, if we land right here, we'll be going up against pretty decently high-level enemies with some tanky defenses and HP, but they are quite strong. Now, one thing I am actually going to check on real quick is I have built these characters to, survive and deal decent damage, but one thing I am going to do for every single character layout is I'm going to have an Alarm Earring and Gale Hairpin character on at all times, and I'm also going to have I guess we could go ahead and give Locke this. I'm going to remove the Genji Glove, and I'm going to give him the Cursed Shield. Now, again, this shield has terrible stats, and in fact, it lowers your stats and gives you a bunch of ailments, which we're going to rectify with the ribbon. But the Cursed Shield has a bit of a interesting thing behind it. If you win a certain number of battles, I believe the exact number is 255 or 256 battles with it, with it equipped on at least one character, doesn't matter who. Once you've done that, it will become a very, very powerful shield. Let's just say that. And I want to make sure I go ahead and grab that. So we're going to go ahead and have that on as we level grind. Terra's basically going to be the sort of solo carry for this team build, as she's running the Celestiad and Soul of Thamasa, and I'm basically just going to burn everything. Now, these tumbleweeds are pretty strong, but the main idea here is basically just to cast Fire Raga over and over and over again. As we can see, The Cursed Shield gives you automatic Doom as well, so there's just a lot of things messed up about this. But thankfully, Solo Famasa plus Celestiad will allow us to just spam magic constantly, and we should be able to get our EXP quite easily. Now also, one big thing is that the Pixel Remaster has means of increasing the amount of EXP you gain per fight. So this grind should not take very long at all. I'm prioritizing growth based on Espers at this point. I'm not going to worry about learning stuff. I wanted to get that speed +2 real quick, but now I'm going to give Cayenne, I guess. There's no other really good strength one. I guess I can give him a free, give him that strength +1. But actually, you know what? Locke doesn't really need strength. So let's go ahead and swap those. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to be worrying about Esper level growths, and before we worry about any specific, like, stats or magic abilities that I want to learn. I'm going to prioritize this first and foremost. And again, I'm going to be kind of aiming for the level 38 to 40 range. Once I've hit that, I think they're pretty good. This game is not very difficult, I think, as you've seen. There's some pretty easy ways to take down bosses, even if we are definitely not at the level the game expects us to be at. There we go, we get lots of bonuses. We get a Reed Cloak right there from those enemies. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I don't believe I actually have one of those. Can I check it on anyone right here? I don't think I can. Anyway, I'll figure it out in a second. Actually, let's do this. Haha, Reed Cloak. A cloak made of reeds that is often worn by imps. Well, that explains it. You need to be imp in order to wear it. A defense +100, magic defense +100. Imping is a little weird in this game. There's actually some very powerful strategies based around actually purposefully turning your characters into imps, and then going berserk with the Imp Partisans, which is a weapon that does powerful damage if you're an imp, or the Reed Cloak, which is a huge defense boost. Characters like Cayenne are able to take a strange advantage of being an imp, even if I don't think it's actually intended by the developers for him to be super duper powerful with the imp status. If you have the Ultima spell from the Ragnarok as well, this is kind of a side tangent, but the Ultima spell will make grinding here really fast, since, well, you know, Ultima's the strongest spell in the game, and you can just kind of rip and tear through these enemies. Fire is a decent supplement. If we had Meteor from Odin, which I didn't really see the reason to just sit around and grind for that right now. If we had Meteor, though, I could just immediately just chuck that at the enemies, which is also quite good. Things like Strago's Grand Delta is also a nice replacement for this, and whenever we get around to leveling him up, I will be making sure to note that again. But honestly, there's really not much for me to talk about here. There is another place that we can reliably level grind, and that is in this forest here. But the enemies here are pretty dangerous. I mean, I will go ahead and like kind of poke them a little bit here in a second. But for right now, I want to try and be at a reliably higher level before I try to even mess with these guys, as they're pretty dangerous. I'll see you back whenever these 4 characters are at my desired level. Now, I do want to note one thing. Because we can only bring 12 characters total into any known piece of content in Final Fantasy VI, and there are 14 main characters, I unfortunately do have to make 2 heartbreaking cuts whenever it comes to designing a team for a party. And unfortunately, those 2 characters are going to be both Gogo and Umaro. Gogo, unless you believe some of the more out there theories, doesn't really have much weight in the narrative, and can honestly just be seen as kind of a cameo character. And Umaro already has time in the spotlight. He's the main reason why I use him is for the Dragon's Neck, and he served his purpose there, but really he's just not all that much. Now, there are 2 other characters that also don't really have that much narrative purpose in the form of Mog and Gao, but I think they're also, well, one, Mog is getting special treatment because of my personal bias. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Even though his playstyle is basically identical to Edgar's endgame playstyle, I'm gonna be bringing Mog because I have a bias. And Gao's playstyle is fairly unique, despite the fact that he'll probably just be playing a support caster throughout the majority of the remainder of what we have left in the story. His rage gimmick, it can still come in handy, and I want to make sure to show that off. So, I will not be leveling up Gogo or Umaro during this session, and instead will be focusing on these 12 characters, with these 4 already being pretty well done. Alright, let's get back to it. You know, while I'm level grinding, I want to go ahead and talk about something that really irks me about the Pixel Remaster version. Now, generally speaking, I think this version is probably the best way for any new player who's completely new to Final Fantasy VI to actually play this game. It has the majority of the content that the GBA and the original mobile version had, but it adds a lot of quality of life that I've talked about ad nauseum at this point. But one thing I do want to talk about my grievances on is that I just don't see the reason why they removed all of the unique espers. So, to give you a bit of context, in the GBA version, there are, I believe, 4 unique espers that you can obtain through various means. Be it a secret dungeon, a secret boss in a random town, or just an overworld enemy. But these espers they're relatively harmless, and they just give you more options on how to build your team and how to like, you know, level up your characters throughout the game, because they appear, you know, sporadically throughout the game. It's not like it's, oh, well, you know, this Esper is only obtained at the super late level, which that is the case for one of them, but for the others, it's, you know, mid-game to mid-late game, where you can level up your characters quite quickly and get access to their level up bonuses and spells without much issue. It isn't like a major flaw of the Pixel Remaster version, but the lack of content that the other versions did have is definitely a major reason why a lot of people don't like the Pixel Remaster version. That and the fact that it took an ungodly amount of time for the PC version to actually have the quality of life that the console versions has. Because when I started recording this series, which would have been about late November of 2023, I am currently playing on the Nintendo Switch version of the game, and because the PC version didn't have the quality of life. I was intending to play the PC version because it would have been much easier to record my setup. I wouldn't need a capture card and all that nonsense. But yeah, the quality of life thing was a kind of a mess. And speaking of quality of life, now this is something that I am definitely not proud about announcing, and I will definitely bring this up in more detail probably near the finale or even the final episode of the series. I'll probably bring this up again. But one thing I do want to mention is that I sort of overpromised with this series. I know I'm kind of getting negative here, but trust me, this does sort of have a happy ending. So whenever I was creating this series, at least planning it out, I had fully intended to create entirely separate files for the SNES version of this game and the GBA version of this game. Intending to play through them off screen, of course. I wasn't going to make you guys play through this game 3 full times. But the Pixel Remaster would be the main series. Then I would have GBA content on the side, with SNES funny little tricks and tips here if you were playing on the SNES version alongside me, or if you just wanted to know about some of the funky stories about the very unstable nature of the SNES version of this game. And unfortunately, these plans sort of fell through very soon after I began actually creating episodes for this series. And the main reason for that is because I am no stranger to emulation. And that was going to be how I would solve this conundrum, because while I technically have an SNES in my possession, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to whether or not it works, because I haven't tested it, and I am not confident enough to solve that issue myself on how I can get that to work if I wanted to try and emulate things on that SNES. Also, I don't have a GBA, and emulating GBA's content on a DS is a pain in the butt. So, sorry, not emulating, but like capturing footage on a DS to capture stuff for a GBA game is a pain in the butt, and I didn't want to do that. So emulation was my main option, and unfortunately, not only could I not find a reliable emulator that worked the way I wanted it to, but the more I played through this game, the more I just felt like I could probably just talk about what I want to talk about verbally, rather than playing through this game 2 more times for maybe what'll be a total of an hour of extra content. Now, I haven't, as of the time of this recording, which I'm looking at my clock right now, is February 27th. This is when I'm recording this episode. I haven't announced anything like this in like community posts, and honestly, I don't think I will. What are my levels at right now? Let's go put Sabin back. I don't think I will. I think I might actually just wait till this episode comes out, because the big thing is just that this is entirely on me, and I don't know, man. It's a bit of a conundrum. It's a personal thing through and through. And I have no one else to blame but me for being a little too overambitious with this project. It's something that I've heavily reflected on, and I'm going to try and be a lot better about in upcoming series. Just to try and make sure that I just don't do anything stupid like this again. I guess I could bring Celeste for 1 more level, so that I don't overlevel any of my other powerful casters. I still have Gal in my party, right? Yeah, he's my shield guy right now. Let's go and disembark. Sorry, this is not related to the video at all, but I wanted to go ahead and bring this up because I know that I don't know how many people were actually fully looking forward to this, and I am sad to announce that it won't be happening. But again, as I said, this does sort of have a happy ending, as I do still want to cover all of those pieces of content, which would be the GBA exclusive Espers and dungeons, along with some of the funny glitches and neat little facts about the SNES version. I will cover those still, but it will not be full-on gameplay like I had initially intended for it to be. So, sorry about that, but still, I think what I've made so far I'm pretty satisfied with. But let's not let the negativity dumb us down any longer. Let's go ahead and continue building our team up for the fight ahead. Yes, kill them, child, kill them all, Strago probably says. Okay, so, I stopped recording right after I finished leveling up, but I'm actually here in the Veldt, getting Gal some abilities, and unfortunately, I've been walking around for about 20 minutes, commentating to myself without actually recording anything. So to catch you up on what exactly you've been missing, we found a King Behemoth out here in the Veldt, along with the Holy Dragon, and we were able to get both of their rages, which is quite nice. Yes, you can encounter the legendary dragons out here. They're still pretty dangerous, so you need to make sure you're on a decent team composition in order to deal with them. Let's go ahead and just have Gao lead. I'm kind of getting tired of just normal, just regular fighting, even if they are repeat enemies. And I also just kind of briefly mentioned, before I clicked the record button, that I actually kind of prefer the Veldt and its randomness, because I was sort of complaining that I didn't really study how the Veldt worked in intricacies of the Veldt before making this project, but I think the kind of the randomness and wild nature of the Veldt is, you know, it keeps the whimsy of it all, and you know what? It allows me to go on tangents like this whenever it really has nothing to do with whatever we're doing. And to give you an idea of why I brought Setzer, Celeste, and Shadow, Setzer and Shadow are, I'm trying to teach them some utility magic through Quetzali and Raiden. And Celeste, I want to try and finish out Phoenix's levels so I can get Re-Raise and a Rise on her. As even though she's going to be playing more offensive with the Lightbringer, I still want her to have the ability to cast restorative magics and being able to raise people, because who knows whenever she's going to need to fall back on that. But, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. There's nothing really all that exciting going on. Ooh, crawlers are new. Let's go ahead and leave this. Thank you very much. If you would be so kind, gal. Or not, I guess. This also works. Okay, there we go. And then we just walk around a little bit more. I kind of want to see if I can encounter another dragon. That would be really nice. No, we got a chaser. Well, I have a bit of a vendetta against these guys after me wasting, like, I don't know, a good 15-20 minutes fighting them, and my sketch wouldn't actually work out. They didn't summon any reinforcements, which is nice, but unfortunately, we're only going to get the chaser's abilities. Not the chasers, man, I forgot the name of the other enemies there. I'll check my menu real quick. So that's, what, 3 new rage abilities, I think, so far? Somewhere around there. We don't have all of them, but let's see here. We have Behemoth King, which we can't see what that does. We cannot see what these do, unfortunately. We got the Crawlers. Those were the new ones. And then we also had the Holy Dragon. Nice. I guess we can go ahead, even though Gao is not in a good state to showcase based on his stats. I don't really have any good gear on him right now. He's kind of playing my, kind of a utility guy. Let's go ahead and showcase what he can do. If we rage the Holy Dragon, I wonder what we'll get. Holy Dragon, he's casting Holy. Who would have thought? A pretty decent magic caster if you want Gao to be a magic caster, and if you're not fighting anything that absorbs holy damage, then hey, there you go. You have a reliable magic damage dealer in the form of Gao. Now let's also showcase the, oh hey, Falso Dragon, neat. Let's go ahead and showcase the Behemoth King as well. If you'd be so kind, Gao. We can go ahead and have our other characters follow up here in a little bit. Oh, we got Takedown. Missed though, because it's flying enemies. Behemoth King. I think actually Celeste might kill them before we get at Gao. Oh no, we got Firaga, nice. 4,700 damage on Gao, which whenever his magic isn't like super strong is pretty good. Plus learn to Rise, Shadow learn Hastiga, and Sloga, which is really good. And then I think, yeah, Setzer is still working on Quick. How close is he? 92%. Pretty good. Because of the Veld, there are certain enemies that don't give you AP, because it's, again, AP is based on enemy formation and not the enemies in the encounter. It's pretty impressive that he's been able to get that amount. I guess we can give him Lakshmi, so Shadow at least has some decent healing capabilities. His magic stat is not great. I did not build him to be a magic user. But, I mean, Cure and Raise can't hurt, you know? I mean, Setzer's not better off. He's 1 point higher, and learning healing magic is going to be pretty useful on him. Yeah. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and walk around a little bit more. Grab what we can. After this, I'm going to go to a few towns and grab some gear, as that'll be kind of like the last major thing we need to do, as we've got to prepare for, I love these enemies' designs. We've got to prepare for a variety of characters. So it's not like we're just going to need to be prepping for 4 characters. We have to prep for 12 of them. So we're going to need to be ready for that. Oh no, I hit him! No, Gao, no! He's taking the high rolls, no! You strangers, go away from the belt. No! I hit Gao! I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I guess this gives me a chance to showcase what happens if Gao runs away. Don't be afraid. If you have dry meat, which thankfully I do, this is not a difficult problem to fix. So, don't freak out. Whoa! Okay, he got 2 really good rolls and 2 really bad rolls. Okay, well, that was balanced out. Okay, let's give him some dried meat. Oh, and never mind, he doesn't... He joins me again. Okay, never mind, I don't even need the dried meat. Why did I... You know what? That's pretty good. Actually, that's something I've learned today. That I've always thought you needed dried meat again, but no, you didn't. I just was slow in the menu, and the game was like, yeah, you're taking too long. He recognizes you. As long as Setzer doesn't roll like 4 amazing rolls against Cow. Poor dude, oh my goodness. I was not expecting Setzer to just go off on him like that. Holy moly. Alright, I spent a little bit more time in the Veldt, and I think I've gotten about everything that I want to grab, at least for right now. If I think about anything, I'll make sure to notify it here with some editing. But because of that, I am going to go ahead and move towards gearing up the remaining parts of my team, as we basically have to consider gear for a lot of our team members if we're going to go into this without any real issue. And there's something here in Thamasa in the equipment shop that I passed over previously that I want to make sure I grab before I forget about it. Let's go ahead and go into the weapons area, which I don't think there's any real weapons issue I have here. Though there is a Da Vinci brush, which is interesting. Does this kind of assume that there is... I guess there just would probably be someone named Da Vinci in FF6's world, but maybe Leonardo da Vinci is here? I don't know. I don't need to buy any more Fuma Shurikens. That is completely pointless. Okay, so then armor shop. This is something important. Since there are some circlets that I can buy here, circlets just in general give quite a bit of extra stats, which is always nice. So I think I'm actually going to buy a few more of these. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I need that many, so let's buy 4 of them. That increases our stock up to 10, which should be more than enough. I also do want to note that there is a chest piece I can get from Mog that will basically boost his defenses to its maximum. That'll require me going to the Dragon's Den Coliseum. If I decide to do that, I'll make sure to put it in this episode. It's kind of the wrap-up episode. But one other thing I want to get here, if I can... I don't see it, so I might have to go to Zen for it. But while I'm here, I haven't gotten the Protect Ring. Might as well just add that to the collection. And I'm tempted to buy some Angel Rings to have automatic regen, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So I guess Protect Ring and those circlets are what I'm here mostly for. So I'm going to be going over to Zen and see if I can get what I'm looking for there. Okay, here in Zen, let's go ahead and just take a quick look at the weapons and armor shop, just in case I missed anything. I don't think I need to, but just in case, nah, okay. Let's check out the armor shop. There are still a few glaring holes in my equipment setup for all my characters, but hopefully we can work something out. With the golden shield, which I don't need to worry about, Beret is not the greatest option. Tiger Mask is decent for Gal, so I think I might actually get that for him. So let's see here. Let's give him... So we have the circlet now, which is nice. But we also have the Tiger Mask, which will give him an extra stat to strength. And the circlet's probably better. Honestly, the circlet's probably best for most of these characters. Actually, nah, let's keep the Priest Headband on him. If we go to Locke, he'll probably want the circlet. He loses a strength stat, but he gets an extra boost to defense and magic defense, so we'll take that. And then we have the relic shop. Let's go ahead and see if what I'm looking for is here. Yes, here we go, Dragoon Boots. For some reason, I actually didn't have a second pair of these, so now I do. I was looking through Edgar's stuff, and I was like, well, he doesn't have the Dragoon Boots. Now, obviously, I don't have a second Dragoon Horn, but I don't really have any intention of getting a second Dragoon Horn. I kind of want Mog to be the pure jumper, and I'll have Edgar rely on both his tools and jumping if need be, just to kind of keep them somewhat different. Anyways, we have another location to go to. Next, we're here in Albrook. Now, hopefully I have correct notes on this, as there actually is an item I want to grab here that I haven't really need a use for a second one, or even like a third one of just yet. But now that we're going to be relying on a lot more physical attackers, getting another one of these is actually pretty important, and that is the Gigas Glove. Now I'm going to buy maybe 2 more of these, and we'll go ahead and work with that. I want to give one to Locke to increase his physical damage by a pretty okay amount. Give him the Gigas Glove. I'm tempted to give one to Shadow. I think I will. Hyperist Gigas Glove doesn't seem too bad of an option. Giving one to Cayenne as well doesn't seem like a bad idea at first, but I think actually running... Actually, I already have one on him, never mind. Giving one to Sluss doesn't seem like a bad idea, but I think Heroes Ring Hyperist is actually probably the better play here. So I've decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and trade in an item, a very powerful item, for Mog's Snow Scarf. Now, obviously, Umaro has one of these, but unfortunately, we cannot unequip it off of him, so we have to win ourselves one in the Coliseum. Oh, hello there, Bokies. Let's go ahead and run away. While I'm dodging these enemies' attacks and using Takedown to take them off the map, I want to go ahead and talk about the strategy for this. So the way that I'm going to be winning myself a Snow Scarf is, well, for one, I need to trade in a Behemoth suit. And unfortunately, Strago is going to be taking the hit in terms of stats in order for me to get this very powerful chest piece. Now, the enemy that we're going up against is a pretty annoying one, to say the least. This is the Outsider. The Outsider has a variety of instant kill attacks and a few magic attacks, but they don't really do all that much damage. So I have brought Shadow along in the hopes that he will utilize his 2 instant death daggers, the Assassin's Dagger and the Ichigeki, to potentially just instant kill the Outsider. That's the hope, at least. We'll see what happens. I don't know if this is going to work. He's already casting Magic Thundar. Is not a great option, dude. The Outsider doesn't really have all that much HP, so this isn't really that difficult in terms of damage numbers. It's more of just, will I get lucky enough for Shadow to actually do anything useful? Cure is not useful, my guy. There's Flare there, and that'll do some decent damage, but because the Outsider doesn't really have a lot of... Oh, hey, cool. The Outsider doesn't have a lot of magic stats to begin with, so his Flare attack doesn't really do all that much. But cool, we got a Snow Scarf. Now we watch as Mog's defenses skyrocket to an unbelievable level. Yep, there we go. So, taking a look at this, a scarf that absorbs ice and halves fire damage. Mog now has 255 defense. This is perfect defense. Now what that means is, if Mog is in the front row, he will take 1 point of physical damage. And if he's in the back row, he will take 0 damage from physical attacks. And he has an insanely high magic defense now as well, compared to literally everyone else in the roster. He is an unkillable god that has access to the Holy Lance, and while his damage won't be super duper high, he can basically salvage any fight gone wrong now. Very, very powerful character with a lot of HP now as well. But that's pretty much it for the Coliseum. But that isn't the last item I want here today, as there's one final item that I want, and I've been passively working towards it for this entire episode, but now we're finally gonna grab it. Why did I do that? That's gonna unequip everyone. That's okay? I'll go and swap everyone out. Alright, we're in Alrighty, we are in Narsh one final time to cover our last thing before we head off for today. Hey, Locke buddy! How do you feel about being a nice little stat stick for the Cursed Shield for a few extra 100 battles, buddy? How does that make you feel? So, for this last little bit, I am going to just stick the cursed shield on lock here. I'm gonna turn off EXP entirely. And Magic AP Guild doesn't really matter anymore. I'm turning off EXP entirely, and I am going to sit here until I obtain the upgrade to the Cursed Shield after completing a certain amount of fights. I'm going to be doing this here in Narsh because I have access to a full heal inside of the Adventuring School, and it is also fairly thematic because where it all began is where now, up before Kefka's castle, or tower, this is where it'll all end. So, let's go ahead and turn on counters and get grinding. I am not going to let you guys sit here painfully as this process goes along, because, dear God, I'm going to be here for a while. So, I'll go ahead and see you at the end of this. Okay, after an ungodly amount of encounters, I think I've been here for just a little over an hour? The curse on the shield has finally been lifted, and we obtain the Paladin's Shield, a wondrous shield that blocks a variety of attacks and gives 59 defense, 40 evasion, 59 magic defense, and 40 magic evasion. Now, that isn't the only thing it does. Let's go ahead and unequip this. I'm just going to give him the ultimate weapon or something. Let's give Terra the good old Paladin's Shield, as there is something I want to do with it. Let's see if I don't think the actual item description is actually going to... Alright, let's go ahead and do a quick fight real quick with the Paladin's Shield equipped on Terra. Let me just make sure this is actively equipped on her. Yes, okay. Just a simple, I don't know, Fire Raga should do. What I've been doing past time. We can see that Terra is dodging all of these attacks like it's no problem whatsoever. Just some pretty decent damage. We got 2 AP for that encounter. And I want to go ahead and show off something. The Paladin's Shield will teach your character, whoever's equipping it, the Ultima spell at a 1% rate, which is exactly what the Ragnarok Esper would have given you. So, we literally get the benefit of the Ragnarok Esper while also just getting the sword so we can get the Lightbringer. We wouldn't really be able to get the Lightbringer in any realistic point if we hadn't done this. This is the core reason why I went with the weapon instead of the Esper, because I can just learn Ultima now. Now, do I really want to sit around and do more fights with Terra? More than I've already done? I guess it couldn't hurt. Why not? I'll see you back whenever I've got Ultima. Alrighty, there we go. We have Ultima on Terra now. Now, I'm not going to just up and give the Paladin's Shield to anyone else. That was always planned to be Terra's go-to shield. So instead, I'm going to give her shield to someone else, but I'll have to figure that out at a later time. But for right now, that's it. That is all of the preparation I wanted to make for our siege on Kefka's tower. So next time on Final Fantasy VI, we are finally going in. And with that said, I'll see you soon.